Welcome back to the Rx3i EthernetIO QuickStart number 2. First thing we're going to have to do is restore the template, which is a project. I'm going to restore this one, so double click on it. It comes in, and for my system it's going to be right here. Double click on this project and it opens up as 10 ENIUs. On the first ENIU, we're going to look at Ethernet Global Data. In the inspector, notice that all the local producers' IDs start with 10, 10, 10. They're dotted addresses and they're not IP addresses. They just look like an IP address. So it's 10, 10, 10, and then 01 for ENIU1, 02 for ENIU2, and so on. I recommend leaving these as is. On the consumed exchange, if I click on that, you notice it says adapter 4, and you can change the timeout if need be. I would leave it alone until it's needed. It's seen that it's needed to be changed, but I would not change anything from the template. So you've got outputs primary to ENIUs, the consumer exchange for the primary to ENIUs, so this is what the ENIU is consuming. The controller sends out at Q1 through 2048, and in the ENIU it gets mapped into M1, %M1 through 2048, which is transparent to you. And they do that because at %M 2049 they start the secondary. So the ENIU can switch between this set of %M1 starting there at 2048 and 2049 on the secondary controller. But since we're dealing with a single controller, we don't need that, but we still use this internally. So it's mapped into M1. All outputs from the controller are mapped, discrete outputs are mapped into here, and the analog outputs are mapped into the R1 through 512 for the same reasoning there. So you pick up what you need on the output. So I normally just start with %Q1 when I start assigning to my cards. So we leave this alone. We don't have to change a thing. The service exchange is mainly for servicing your ENIU with diagnostics and all. They're going to do troubleshooting, so I would leave that alone. So you don't have to touch that, and you can notice down here you don't have to change anything. Produced exchange. The produced exchange is multicast, just like the controller is multicasting its produced exchange. This is also. So if you had a redundant controller, it'd go to both. In this case, it's sort of academic. It doesn't really matter. So you should not have to change anything in here. You may have to change the produced period, but that really depends on your controller scan time. I would leave it the same and see if you can get it to work at this, and then you can tweak all this parameter. These are about the only parameters you need to change. Also, the adapter name, if you're pulling the ETM around, you need to pay attention to the adapter name. Make sure this moves with the as you drag and drop the ETM. So if we go down to the hardware now, we also have a service exchange on that. You don't need to bother it. You need to change your power supplies to agree with what you have in your system. There's one ETM because it's a single LAN. If I double click on it, I went in and put this IP address. It was blank, it was zeros, so you can put anything you want in there. So I put in this address. Then I started putting in the IO, and I started at 1. It defaults to 201. That's only because of the way the system is set up for the EGD. It's set up to 200, so it thinks it's being used. So I had to change it to I1. And then this one, which since that's a length of 16, this one goes to 17, and so on. So you'd make it all contiguous addresses, and you might want to reserve, well, you've got 200 inputs that in the exchange that's being produced, so that can be changed if you follow the ENIU manual. Alright, with the outputs, I'm starting at Q1, which is that M1 gets mapped into the Q1. So I can put in my IO cards here. So you go through and configure ENIU 1 and 2. That's all there is to it. Just configure it like that, and everything should work. So that's how you configure an ENIU for each of these ENIU 1s through 10. Only configure the ones you need, and I'd stay in consecutive order also, best 1, 2, and 3, and so on. Let's go to the controllers, the controller quick start on quick start number 3.